doing?
What you talking about? What am I doing?
You reading them nasty books again, right, Myron?
Everybody reading those nasty books, man. You scared the hell out of me. What you talking about, man? Wait, I ain't did that in about 2 weeks.
You called yesterday 2 weeks. What you reading? What you reading?
You scared the goddamn book, man. Dr. EnQi. I went on Amazon and got 3 Dr. EnQi books because I'm reading about melatonin and biochemistry.
What is, Myron, that's not even a, first of all, it's not melatonin and whatever it is that you just said. It's melanin and biochemistry. You can't even pronounce the word, so how you reading? How you reading, Myron?
I'm not looking at the pictures. I got the books right here. I'm looking at the pictures. You know, it ain't nothing nasty about this. So what are you talking about? I got all the books right here. What are you talking about?
Myron, you don't even know how to read. Every time we get mail, you bring it to me. You think I don't know that?
I got hooked on Phoenix. Now, what you talking about? I was hooked on Phoenix, so I know how to read.
As of when? Because first of all, hooked on phonics, I believe it's for kids. There's no such thing as hooked on Phoenix. And if I recall, you're the same person that thought reindeer was pronounced reender, and you're the same person that thought pigeon was pronounced piggion. So it makes sense that you went to hooked on Phoenix.
Man, such a dumbass.
No,
you always trying to say somebody can't read. I know exactly what I'm talking about, man. I'm reading the books. I got the book. I got the goddamn receipt right here. I got the goddamn receipt right here for the books. What you talking about?
Well, you need to return them for somebody who know how to read them. And I still don't. It's probably all type of stuff in the inside of the books, Myron. That's how sneaky you are. Give me the books. Give me the books, Myron.
Hell no.
Give me the books, Myron. Give me the books, Myron.
I'm not giving you none. I got these books off Amazon. I'm not giving you the books. Ain't that no.
Bye. Bye.
I've been in this game. Yeah. You're animals to this shit. Animal, baby.
The gods have blessed us. We must act now. We must act now to save us, to save our souls.
And the crowd goes crazy. Shout out to the family. How is everybody doing? Shout out to everybody that is on the cholesterol challenge right now with us. Shout out to everybody on the cholesterol challenge. Officially trying to drop their cholesterol 40 points in the month of December. So if you don't know, let me refresh everybody's memory, because I know right now people are in different spaces. People are in different spaces. No, we're going to definitely get into the title of the video. Listen, the information is crazy right now. But I want to shout out everybody that is supporting the platform, right? We definitely need the cash apps to go up. We definitely need the patreon.com memberships to go up. We definitely need people supporting the books. But I want to talk about the people who are participating right now in the cholesterol challenge. I really appreciate everybody who got the book. It was dedicated to my little brother. It didn't start out that way. It didn't start out that way. But, you know, he was 12 years younger than me. 12 years younger than me. I'm 47. He's 35 when he passed away. 35 years old. Right? So, where we left off, right? Where we left off, that's not play for me. Right? That's not play for me. That's literally been if not the main subject of every book, it's been in the shadow. It's been in the background. It's been looming over every book, every conversation, because the movement, the ministry, Melanin versus Diabetes, is about health. But it's not just centered around diabetes. It's centered around all of the various things that plague people as offshoots from diabetes, right? And for many people that weren't with us at the beginning of the journey, or that have been inconsistent with their, following and supporting and things like that, sometimes we may make a twist or a turn, and you might miss a few months, or you might miss a few books, and you fall behind, and you don't know how we got where we are, right? But when we did the documentary, if you haven't seen the American Healer documentary, you should go check out the American Healer documentary. When we did the American Healer documentary, probably one of the most important parts, at least for me, was getting out into the street and taking a poll, right? Not like a poll on a YouTube video, but a poll out in the street, asking people, do they know what melanin is? Black people, white people, old people, young people, fat people. You know what I'm saying? Like, asking people, do they know what melanin is? Asking people, do they know what diabetes is? Asking people, have they ever heard of a relationship between melanin and diabetes? Right? And it was unanimous. Nobody had ever heard anything like what we've been bringing to the people. Period. Nobody ever discussed the relationship between melanin and diabetes. Never. There's no record of that, right? There's been 1,000 million, not a million, not 1,000, 1,000 million conversations, maybe 1 million conversations about Black people and diabetes. And so as we've been attacking diabetes, as we've been attacking every facet of diabetes, from something as common as people smoking or rolling up or whatever the case may be, all the way down to the finest parts of the electron transport chain. Cytochrome 1, cytochrome 2, cytochrome 3, cytochrome 4, cytochrome 5. And then taking that apart, literally taking cytochrome 5 apart to the F0 motor, right? To the 3 branches that actually collect the ADP and the floating phosphate and bring them back together and reproduce ATP. Like, from the finest detail all the way up to the largest, most obtuse, common theme or what people may have thought about. But heart disease has always been in the background. Heart disease has always been, because that's the unseen relationship, right? And then also, as we start to go through the information, lost identity became a prevalent theme, because as we poke and we prod all of the known information, we start to get this recurrent theme, right? And the recurrent theme is unknown, right? Question mark, right? Question mark. What does black mean? Question mark. There's no specific. Ask 20 different people, get 20 different answers. But we know for a fact that black people are at the top of the list for diabetes and all complications associated, right? So for me, that became problematic. And as we began to discuss it more, people began to chime in with their personal issues, right? But we're a family, so we attack them together, right? But people begin to chime in with their personal issues because they have gotten the same answers about their issue, right? Black women, dealing with fibroids. Oh, well, the doctor said the same thing to me. He said the black women. I said, stop right there. What's a black woman? Because see, that's where the catch, that's where the trick, that's where the lie, you scratch a lie, find a thief. It's in that space right there where you're rendered helpless. Because I'm dealing with lupus. Wait, let me guess. The doctor told you black women are also at the highest risk for lupus. Okay. Could you go back to your doctor and ask him, what does black woman mean? Right. So the concept of melanin versus diabetes began to become more and more and more important. It began to become people began to see. I, of course, saw from the very beginning. That's why the movement is melanin versus diabetes, because of experience, because of research, because of trials, tribulations, but John Q. Public didn't understand the relationship between melanin versus diabetes. And now when we start to look at every cancer, oh yeah, black folks, the highest, this one, STDs, herpes, leukemia, I mean, you name it, black makes you a higher risk factor. But there's no definitive answer on what that is, right? So, I know that the presidential campaign shed more light on it. It made people more interested. Because you had the country divided, or at least, I can't even say at least, you had the country divided on this whole political thing. And one of the largest things was black identity. People were asking the same question for totally different reasons. We trying to save lives. They're trying to figure out, is Kamala black or not? And then caveats to that is homosexual black or not? Is gay black or not? is drug addict black or not? Because Joe Biden said when he was giving out free crack pipes, right? He gave out free needles, free crack pipe, like free drug paraphernalia. He was supporting the black community. I'm just saying. All of these things were put on the table one way or another. Now, I have a personal rule that although I don't like Joe Biden, I had to excuse Joe Biden for that. I'm going to tell you why, because of my personal rule, my personal moral standards. And he challenged my standards in this way. I'm going to tell you what my thing is. Having children, right? And this is why I very rarely, almost never have put my children in the care of someone else. I'm not a fan of like babysitters and daycare and spend the night over there and blah, 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 blah. I'm not a fan of that, right? But I do have a rule as a parent. Within reason, if you judge or critique my child, I'm not going to hold it against you if that's the way you treat your child. And then by extension, right? By extension, I have that rule for myself. I'm not going to feel insulted if I know, this custom or this practice is, I may not partake. I may never visit you again. I may, but I'm saying I won't be insulted because I realize this is just who you are as a person, right? So I had to excuse Biden for saying he was supporting the urban community, the black community, by giving out free drug paraphernalia. Because, there's Hunter, right? And he's just pardoned Hunter. So I'm just saying the political campaign raised some questions, right? And with Kamala, it was interesting because questions that we had been asking for a long time, right? Other people, I got to see other people that I couldn't personally reach attempt to answer these questions, right? Now, Mark Lamont Hill was one of these people. Mark Lamont Hill's on the record saying that Kamala's black because he personally was with her listening to Too Short and drinking quarter waters. If you don't know what a quarter water is, that's a 25-cent juice. Yeah, it's really just basically like tap water with food dye and sugar in it. Quarter water, right? So I'm like, wait a minute, Mark Lamont Hill, it's like a PhD scholar, professor level, collegiate, professional debater. Like, hold on. When I'm out in the street and I'm asking people if they ever heard of Melanin, then I double back. And I asked, we did another poll. What does black mean? What is black? I got everything from, black is beautiful and powerful is empowerment, answers like that, to what did Sarnetta say? He said when he was coming up, black was the opposition of white power, right? So anything that was going against like white power would be considered black. So I got so many different answers. I asked Moorish brothers and white folks. And the answers I got was just as crazy as when I asked people about, had they ever heard of melanin in any kind? So I realized this is a big problem, that the pharmaceutical institutions are taking full advantage of. So, you know, that's been a big part of, you know, some of the twists and the turns that we've been taking with the information, because it is not just fighting illnesses. It's not just popping on the internet saying you got herbs for sale, right? It's tackling everything that goes along with the illness. If we're trying to create long-term wellness, if we're trying to really change the world, it's attacking all of those things that we may not know are putting us in line, right? Because after we begin to tackle the question, what is melanin, right? Versus black. Almost nobody, when I asked them what did black mean, responded with anything associated with melanin. A few people, when I asked them what was melanin, they said the thing that makes you black. A few, maybe 2 or 3 people out of 40 people, 50 people. So Kamala has melanin. She's not black. So then some people will argue you down. This was going to be the first black, blah, 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 blah. So I'm just saying, we've come far with the conversation, but we still got a ways to go. Because although we have been building a massive library of information, we have to get it out to the people, because the people are largely still ignorant, right? They're still largely ignorant of, and respectfully, as a person that believes in God, right? Our religious brothers and sisters are the most vulnerable. They are amongst the most vulnerable, the most ignorant, the most unknowing, and not just unknowing, not just unlearned, right? But indignant, thinking that they know when they don't know, right? And so it's up to us to be able to, excuse me for that, it's up to us to be able to do the work and put the time in, right? And educate folks, right? And share the information and teach folks, but not just in actions. You have to teach by becoming the leader, right? You have to demonstrate, right? And that's what brings us to the title of the video, right? That's what brings us to the title of the video. When you demonstrate, people will fall in line. When you demonstrate, people will fall in line. They will have no choice. They will criticize you the whole way, maybe, but they will fall in line, right? And so, yeah, it's been a journey. You know, I got a lot of good feedback from the past couple of weeks you know, what we've been doing. I got a lot of good feedback. I haven't been getting a lot of cash apps though. So I'm kind of confused on the feedback. They're like, yo, that was crazy, fired up. I'm like, I can't really tell. We about to be homeless for Christmas. They're like, yo, we love the info. I'm like, great. But maybe I should. Oh yeah, it's right there at the bottom of the screen. I was about to say maybe people don't know the Cash App. There it goes. People know what the Cash App is. But no, we got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to talk about. So I really want to thank the people that are participating. Because you have to have the book to participate, right? You have to have the Speak It Into Existence book in order to be participating with the cholesterol challenge, right? The protocol is in the book, right? And when you see the protocol, you're gonna be like, that's it. That's so simple. That's so simple. That's it. Super simple, right? But the numbers don't lie, which is the reason why we're in position to be able to really make massive change. Massive change. Yo, don't make me play the video. Don't make me play the video, man. No, trust me. I get it. There's some profound answers that we've gotten over the past. Like when we go back to especially if we're going back to the time when pro-black was the thing to be, you know, all of those answers would be challenged. You know, all of those answers would be challenged the moment that we start to say, okay, well, right? Like it's powerful, it's beautiful, it's consciousness. How is it causing diabetes then? How is it causing the high blood pressure? You know, how is it killing us? Because it is. To act like it's not would be for us to cover our eyes and our ears, like how the monkeys are, you know, the you know what I'm saying, like dumb, deaf, and blind. Because it is. It's definitely killing us, right? Kidneys, the whole dialysis business, like, and they're generating billions of dollars off of kidney failure. That's largely Black business. You don't really have young people of other cultures whose kidneys are given out. It's only Black folks whose kidneys like stop working in their 30s into their 40s. And the doctors don't have an answer for it. Now, obviously, we have an answer. We have a book on it. You know, we literally in the kidneys book is where we talk about some of these conversations, because I couldn't write a kidney book. I couldn't write a book about the kidneys and not address the elephant in the room. Right? Now, one of the things I did do is we have a book. It's floating around out there. It's floating around out there. It's called Birds of a Feather. Right? It's called Birds of a Feather. In the Birds of a Feather book, we compare, right? We just put a comparative, spotlight on let me say this. In the space that we're in, right? And we're talking about spiritual systems and spirituality, and we got Puff Daddy going on, and now they've added Jay-Z and Billy Carson, and so people are asking a lot of different questions, right? And one of the questions was, what about the Kabbalah? Right? What are my honest thoughts about the Kabbalah? Right? And so what I did in the Birds of a Feather book is we just took it back. We just took it back in the same way that we've been doing everything else, right? Because most people that are studying Kabbalah are like studying Kabbalah in the same way that they're studying chakras, like, because it's a whole social media universe of people, right? People aren't really studying things like because they're passionate about it. It's a very short attention span. They pick it up and put it right down, right? It's a very short attention span. So what I did was we just went beyond Kabbalah, right? We went beyond the Kabbalah. And this is the Birds of a Feather book. But we went beyond the Kabbalah to look at the Sefer Yetzirah. And I might be butchering the pronunciation of the name of that book. It translates to the Book of Brilliance, right? The Book of Brilliance, or the Book of Illumination, or the Book of Shining, right? It's about a 1,500 to 2,000-year-old book, somewhere around there. But we went through the whole text, right? We went through the whole text. And this is the place where later on they invented Kabbalah from, right? Later on they invented Kabbalah from studying that book, right? So we also, in consecutive order, right? In consecutive order, I probably should have started with this. We look at the story of the heavenly cow, right? The golden cow from Exodus in the Bible, right? But there's a pap ride, there's a Kemetic story of the heavenly cow that was very popular at the time. And so we look at that story and we compare that story to some of the biblical narratives, and then we compare that story to the Sefer Yetzirah, right? And then we compare the Hebrew alphabet to the Medu Neter, right? And it's some very interesting anomalies present themselves, right? So I'll just leave that there for that. Like, there's some very interesting anomalies pop up when you're able to consecutively look at, you go, okay, here's the story of the heavenly cow. Here's the Sefer Yetzirah, right? Because the story of the heavenly cow talks about the creation of man and blah, 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 blah. But the story is from the perspective of God. It's not from the perspective of those being created. This is a top-down story, right? And there's a lot of things that you'll get from that story that even now, when I think about the story, there's stuff that I didn't even put in the book, that I didn't even write in commentary, because like it's just so rich. As you go through it, you'll see. Because there's a part in the Bible where it says God lamented that he made man, right? Like all of that's from that, you know, there's a lot from that story. But the Sefer Yetzirah approaches creation from the mind of God, right? So the heavenly cow story, like, so in the Bible, it talks about the creation epic from like man's perspective. The heavenly cow talks about it from God's perspective. The Sefer Yetzirah speaks about it like inside the mind of God, right? So it's this, yeah, there's some interesting anomalies that you'll grab when you start pulling that information out of it. Yeah. And then right, I had a bunch of folks, obviously, they say you're doing a lot, you know, in terms of the Bible and the Kemetic text and blah, blah, blah. Why don't you speak more about the Quran? Why don't you speak more about the Quran? Or the you know, Islam? So we did. And this is a different book, though. This is a different book. This is just me catching you guys up to speed on where we're at and what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? And how we got to where we are before we get, you know, get crazy. Right?
The gods have blessed us. We must act now. We must act now to save us, to save our souls.
Okay, so let me show y'all what I was talking about. Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, so have y'all seen this? Have y'all seen this? Okay, so that's the one thing, but let me ask y'all if y'all have seen this one. right? So it's in that book with Patal on the cover with the Wasp scepter and the Ankh, right? It's in that book that we dig into some more of the narrative, right? And there's a lot of conversation about, you know, Christians and debating Muslims, and I need you guys to have okay. Let me just start with this. Because we already did this from a perspective covering the number 19, right? We already covered the number 19, right? Remember? Do y'all remember what we did with this? Do y'all remember what we did in this book? And remember, this book is part 2. Almost like don't even like to hold this up without the other book to go with it. Right? So I had to break these in half, right? So you get these, you need to have these together, right? But in this book, right? In this book, we talk heavy. We talk heavy in this book about the Quran, right? And a lot of people felt that we had went so deep in the Quran, in this book, that maybe they felt a little safe, like that was, you know, that was that. And I have a certain love for numbers, right? I have a certain love for, like, you know, ancient texts where there's a secret number, you know, a secret number code, and, you know, like, so, you know, there's a level where I was like, all right, well, we're gonna, you know, it's bad enough that we had already went here with it. Right? We already went here with it. I think that's how you spell the word. I might be butchering it. It might not be a U here. This might be the English, right? Something to this effect, right? Right? This here should be the end of the conversation. This should be the end of the conversation, right? Respectfully. Respectfully. Nobody can get around this. The word Quran is not Arabic. Okay? It is a loan word from Syriac, which means Bible study. right? Now, I put the book where people could go learn about this in more detail. And I still received crazy talk. I still received crazy talk. I still received people, oh, well, you know, wow. Like, bro, I was trying to take it easy on y'all over there and let y'all, because I'm really not, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking about this is recent. This is recent. Because those of you that have been supporting, right, you know that we have been heavy on prayer, right? We've been heavy on prayer. And somebody made the mistake. I ain't gonna put the name out there, but somebody made the mistake of saying that we, me and you, the Melanin versus Diabetes team, said that we was stealing Salat. Like we were stealing from Islam. They could have just left me alone. But see, listen, and I'm going to show you an example. I'm going to show you an example of when you're teaching or anything, when you're at a certain level with it, right? It doesn't matter what it is, but when you're at a certain high level, right? People will have no choice but to follow you, right? They will have no choice. This is how you become the thought leader in a space. They will have to follow you. So there are people watching right now, and this is why I have to remind y'all, hit the Cash App, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, hit the Patreon, like, because people are watching not because they support the movement. People are watching because they need my light to support their movement. I want y'all to let that sink in. Yaki can't wait to get the next book so he could come up with his next set of videos. But it's not just him. It's people in all kinds of spaces, right? It's people in all kinds of spaces. And this is discussed in the biblical text. This is in the Bible, right? But you have ignorant Hebrew Israelites running around, and they're promoting this idea. And this is crazy. In 2024, they're promoting the idea that at some point, Christ is going to return. And when Christ returns, the Gentiles are going to be kissing their feet and living in slavery. Like they get ready to take white folks into slavery. Like, I kid you not. I was like, I would have thought over the years that would have like been amended. Like, are you still like, that's not what the Bible is talking about. The Bible, that's not what the Bible teaches. And it goes back to the top of the conversation. See, there are points in our conversation that the average person will not be able to follow because they'll be like, EnQi, you're getting off topic. No. EnQi is still very much on topic. Let me tell you why. All right? Let me tell you why. Because what happens is, and this is one of my biggest pet peeves. What happens is we underestimate the ancient people, right? So because we underestimate the ancient people, nowhere in our mind can we process the idea that they were dealing with concepts that we think are advanced concepts. We just can't get that through our minds, right? So there's still people that have foolishness. You know, they're like, oh, well, the Bible says that Moses hit a rock and then water came out of it for the Israelites to drink. I'm like, yeah, but I showed you what that rock was. Yeah, I showed you what that rock is. That's not a magical, it doesn't have to be a magical thing. There's rocks that concentrate water. One of them is called ringwoodite, right? That doesn't have to be, right? But speaking specifically to the title of the video, right? We talked about that. Ringwoodite. Remember the center of the earth is iron and is ringwoodite. Iron and ringwoodite. Ringwoodite is a magnesium-based rock crystal, and yeah, it stores water. But we're not even on that. We've had that conversation. What I'm saying is, we have this thing in our minds where we don't get that language and time make us, we kind of just fall asleep, right? So remember, we was talking about people don't know what this is. People don't know what this is. Even a bunch of people on the internet that be watching these videos, they go, oh yeah, I know what melanin is. Melanin is pigment. If I ask 3 to 5 more questions, they'll be lost because they don't understand what that means in the overall biochemistry of your body. What does that do? What is that? Like, how does it, what is it, you know, there's levels to it, right? So here's the thing. What the Bible is talking about, what the title of the video is talking about, what we're going to go into further, and what I want you guys to learn how to take advantage of, right? This is what it means to be fishers of men, right? Because a lot of people have this wrong, right? Like the Jehovah's Witness, they come and they knock on your door. And what do 99.999% of people do when Jehovah's Witness knock on the door? They either don't answer it, they open up the door and troll the Jehovah's Witness people, or they might open the door just to close it in their face. Like, so let me. You know what? Let me see if I can find you a video. I think that a video what might be good right here. Let me see if this. Let's see. Okay, let's check out this video.
Is responsible for the efficiency of the energy transfer process in plants. Allowing them to capture peak could also be applied to plant cells during photosynthesis. The study involved carefully examining the behavior of light and energy transfer within the photosynthetic apparatus of various plant species. To their astonishment, the scientists discovered a remarkable similarity between the behavior of electrons in plant cells and the atoms within a beck. They found that during photosynthesis, energy flows through the plant cells in a coherent and organized manner, akin to how atoms behave in a superfluid state. This coherence is
All right, so let me slow this down a bit for people, right? Just so we could get clarity. Light, right? I want to just add some pieces here so that this starts to make sense, right? For the people, I know people in the front of the room, the people with the books that have been studying the support, they got it, they're getting it. For the people all the way in the back of the room, I need to help them out, right? The Bible identifies, the Quran identifies, tradition identifies God as light. Tradition also identifies God as sound. Cool. Got that, right? We don't. Because if we got that, right? If we actually understood that, if we understood that, then we would know that light and sound have very structured and organized patterns of movement. Light and sound have very organized, structured patterns of movement, right? And it's organized and arranged via pigment, right? This is what makes pigment so special, right? Pigment is what controls the movement of light. Wars have been fought. Listen to what I'm trying to tell you. This is so important, but it's so simple. You can't really understand the magnitude. This is the origin of racism. Listen, this is the origin of racism. This is the reason why there's war in the Middle East right now. This is the reason why Christmas is coming up and they're going to keep telling people that Jesus was hung on a cross. Meanwhile, we read in the Bible together that Jesus was hung on a tree. Right? We got to get this. It is what it is. God is identified as light. Light moves in a very organized manner. Organized manner. A leaf, greatest example of all time. A leaf shows how nature will structure itself if left to its own devices. A leaf. And this is why one of my pet peeves, another one of my pet peeves, when they try to leave out the pigment or when they leave out melanin in scientific conversations, right? Or when dumb people masquerading as smart people attempt to look down on smart people masquerading as dumb people. I'm highly aware that I'm a smart person masquerading. So we have clashes. Dumb people masquerading as smart people, and then smart people masquerading as dumb people. It gets crazy sometimes, right? Because you cannot have a quantum conversation. This is what I be trying to tell people. There's no quantum science. Quantum science does not exist in life outside of pigment. Now you can talk about quantum computers and all. You can get into that space. That's a hypothetical space that's not actually fully realized yet. So that's a hypothetical space. But in biology, in living systems, there is no quantum nothing without pigment. Period. Electricity, light, magnetism. You cannot have that conversation without pigment. And when you bring pigment into the conversation, you bring structure, you bring order into the chaos. You bring order into the chaos, right? So when you see, and this is how I put together the blue magic, right? On these principles. What's the blue magic? AmericanHealer.website, not .com, AmericanHealer.website. Go to the website, order you some blue magic. It's our specific CMOS blend, right? Put together on these principles. When you look at a leaf, right, you have chlorophyll. And in the chlorophyll family, you have chlorophyll A through F. In the books, we go through all of the different types of chlorophyll, right? So A through F, different types of chlorophyll, right? Different types of chlorophyll. Now, all plants don't have every type of chlorophyll, right? Some plants have chlorophyll type A, some have chlorophyll A and B. You know, when you get into the algae, that's when you get into like the D's, the E's, and the F's, and some of the other types of chlorophylls, because pigment organizes and structures light, organizes and structures electricity. When we talk about the number 137 or the number 1 over 137, right, which is the number, the principle behind the conversion of energy to matter, right? So when you get into the Feynman math and all that, the QED, quantum electrodynamics and all that, this is going to be, this is the creme de la creme. Like in geometry, they talk about pi and phi, like those are the most amazing numbers in all of geometry, right? When you get into quantum study, right, this is the most important number that there is. This is the number that represents the relationship between energy and matter, right? So it's important that you understand that this number is encoded in the pyramids, specifically the Great Pyramid. The height of the Great Pyramid is 137 meters, but understanding that sand shifts, they built it also into the so-called King's Chamber, right? So you would know that it's there purposefully. And in the King's Chamber, you have both of these numbers. That's the crazy part. So you have the pyramid at 137 meters high, but then in the King's Chamber, you have 1 over 137, which is super crazy, right? To have both of these numbers in one edifice, right? So that's a whole nother conversation, right? But in the world of pigment, you have a hierarchy, right? You have a hierarchy. So you have your red, right? Your yellow, etc., right? In a leaf, you see this when the seasons change. As children, we're taught the wrong thing. When I was in elementary school, I was taught that the leaves turn colors. Most kids are still taught that. I teach my children otherwise, but I tell them not to get in trouble in school. So go along with whatever the teacher say. Just when you get home, just know I'm gonna probably pat you on the head so some of that stuff could fall out, because some of that stuff is a little crazy, right? But the leaves don't turn colors. The leaves don't turn colors, right? What's happening is you have layers of pigments. You have layers of pigments, right? Because color doesn't even really exist, right? But you have layers of pigments, one inside the other, like a Russian doll, right? You have pigments, one inside the other, inside the other, inside the other. So when the weather changes, only the strong will survive. Chlorophyll is nice. It's cute. It's fancy. It gets all the props and the love when you talk about photosynthesis, but chlorophyll is weak. Chlorophyll is weak. Chlorophyll needs a high amount of sunlight. And when that sun is gone, the chlorophyll dies. The chlorophyll cells die. They break down. And when the chlorophyll on the top breaks down, you get to start to see what are the pigments that was inside the chlorophyll. So the leaf is not changing color. The outer coat is breaking down. And why is that important? I'm trying to give you this info, so as we watch these little cute videos real quick, hopefully this will sink in and you'll get what's going on out in the world, what the Bible means with the future time when Christ returns, and then all of a sudden the children of the Most High are going to take their oppressors into slavery. All right? I need y'all to get this, because this is all related. It's all related to a simple set of truths surrounding pigment, surrounding light, surrounding knowledge as light, right? The drip, the swag, the spiel, right? And why I had to stop myself from being angry with people that are constantly stealing from me. I had to realize this is just, you're supposed to be honored, right? Because they don't want to do it. Listen, they don't want to do it. Trust me. After I call people out and we blow them up, they don't want to keep stealing. They don't want to. But what you got to realize is they don't have a choice. It's like a crackhead that's like keeps saying they're gonna stop smoking crack, but they're gonna get high again. It's like a dope fiend addicted to lean or injecting heroin. They cannot stop themselves. They tuned in right now. They're not gonna hit the like button. They're not gonna hit the Cash App with a like button. They're not gonna chat in the chat room, but they're watching this video right now. I'm gonna show you something in a minute. It's gonna be interesting, right? And I'm not blowing the brother up. You know. Anyway, I'll get to that in a second. But this is what I'm explaining to you is the basis of quantum mechanics in a very simplified way that you can get it and understand it. This is how all life works. This is how electricity and light are organized. Electricity and light are organized by pigment. There's a hierarchy. So what happens is chlorophyll will absorb light, and whatever light chlorophyll misses, this one will get, that one will get, right? And they will translate that into electricity, which will then be rerouted back to chlorophyll, right? So chlorophyll can process, because chlorophyll has the highest efficiency of processing. Inside humans, right? Chlorophyll has the highest efficiency of processing in plants. In humans, it's melanin. When melanin is compared to chlorophyll, it's not even close, right? And it shouldn't be, because there are different types of pigments with different types of purposes and functions, right? But this is how it works in the real world. I'll repeat it over and over a few times as we keep going through the video. I'm gonna repeat it, so it'll start to sink in. If not, you just rewind the video and watch from the beginning.
Involved carefully examining the behavior of light and energy transfer within the photosynthetic apparatus of various plant species. To their astonishment, the scientists discovered a remarkable similarity between the behavior of electrons in plant cells and the atoms within a beck. They found that during photosynthesis, energy flows through the plant cells in a coherent and organized manner, akin to how atoms behave in a superfluid state. This coherence is responsible for the efficiency of the energy transfer process in plants, allowing them to capture and utilize sunlight with remarkable effectiveness. The implications of this discovery are profound. It suggests that the underlying principles of quantum physics play a crucial role in the fundamental processes of life itself. By harnessing quantum coherence, plants are able to optimize their energy absorption and utilization, a feat that has eluded human-made solar energy systems. Understanding and mimicking this behavior could hold the key to developing highly efficient, bio-inspired energy technologies. This discovery also raises intriguing questions about the possibility of quantum effects occurring in other biological processes.
I'm telling you, this is a widespread conversation, because this is the whole alien conversation. Because they getting ready to drop this on you, that they got alien materials and all that. That's coming. And I'm telling you, there's no alien materials. It's human materials, and they've been doing human experimentation illegally. So they can't tell you that they got some advanced melanin polymers without people saying, where you got that from? How did you develop that? Oh, we got this from the aliens. So aliens brought this to us. Ah, got you. Aliens bring it to you. It's not that you've been taking prisoners and homeless people. No, you haven't been doing human experimentation. Aliens dropped this off at the house for you. Okay, we got it. Aliens dropped this off at the house. They happened to be cruising through, pulled over on Earth real quick to fuel up, because they was moving through the solar system. They was coming from their house, and they was going to visit their auntie and them on the other side of our solar system. So they had pulled over on Earth real quick to fuel up. And while they was fueling up, they went ahead and dropped off. Got it. I got it. Or better yet, our military has saw some aliens when they was coming through, right? Our military has saw some aliens on their way through, and we had shot them down. Our military in airplanes, we saw aliens passing through with advanced technology, and we shot them down with our bullets. No, better yet. Aliens was coming through. They was coming from their house. They was going to visit home. No, better. It was a single alien. And he had a shorty on the other side of town. On the other side of the solar system. So he was actually on a booty call. So he was racing. And because he was on his way to see a shorty, he was inside his alien ship, the UFO, and he was getting intoxicated. That's what was happening. He was getting intoxicated because he was getting ready to make a booty call. So he was getting intoxicated and he accidentally fell asleep at the wheel and he crashed on Earth. So when the aliens had crashed on Earth, that's what happened. The alien was drunk while flying, DWF, crashed into Earth, and we got some alien material. People gonna go for it. People gonna go for it. I'm telling you, it's crazy. Because y'all don't realize that y'all being set up with this stuff already. This here, y'all don't realize. See, this is why I'm saying this is what's important. This is my whole problem with the Billy Crystal situation, Billy Carson, right? Here's my problem, even with JT the Pocket Watcher, right? Even with JT the Pocket Watcher, right? JT the Pocket Watcher has exposed for fraud every single person that's on Rich's channel. If you go to JT the Pocket Watcher's channel, let's go to JT the Pocket Watcher's channel real quick. Let's go over to JT the Pocket Watcher channel. Let me show you what I'm saying, which is what's the problem. Watch JT Pocket Watcher. Bang. Let's go to JT the Pocket Watcher. Here's my problem with JT the Pocket Watcher. Look at this. Let me show you his channel. You see this? Now this is an accountant. And look at this. Look at this. If you notice, look at this. Look at these people that's on here. Brother Ben X, right? Look, 19 keys, right? All of these people, if you notice, all of these people that he done caught stealing, not exposing them like, you know, like back and forth with Queen's Throne and Sonetta's page, you know, where people talking about people personally. That's not what he does on that page. He doesn't do that on that page. What he does on that page is when people get caught stealing thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, he exposes that. People get caught stealing hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. He exposes that. When people run big real estate scams and Ponzi schemes, he exposes that, right? So here's my problem with the Billy Carson situation. And not even so much Billy Carson, but you guys at home. Because you guys at home are really the ones that's at fault, slowing down the progress of the community. I'm going to tell you why. And this goes to JT the Pocket Watcher. My problems with him specifically, right? He has exposed everybody on Rich's platform. Everybody that Brother Rich promotes, he has caught them stealing thousands and thousands of dollars. From Billy Carson to the all of them dudes. 19 keys, the whole program. But he never once talked about Rich. He never once said, you know what? All these guys seem to come from the same place. How come? How come it is all these guys come from the same place? How come all these guys come from the same place? How does that work, right? How do we separate that? So I don't even know how Sonetta gets so much bad publicity. Because if we talk about damage to the community, Sonetta ain't got nothing on Brother Rich and them. That what they got going on over there, I'm talking about millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. All you gotta do is go to the channel, JT the Pocket Watcher. Well, EnQi, how does that have to do with what you just said about Billy Carson? I'm going to show you. Because we never, ever look at the big picture. Once Billy Carson is busted, once he's busted and we realize that he's been teaching gobbledygook, right? You have to turn around and go, wait a minute. You co-signed the gobbledygook. And not only did you co-sign it like in the past, because you could have been victim, you could have learned better, did better, educate yourself after. Like, nah, that's crazy. I can't even believe I thought about it like that at one time. No, you currently support and promote that. There's a lot of people that ask me all the time, Doc, yo, what about these folks here? Gaia. I'm like, bruh, the name of the program is Gaia. No, it's Gaia. I'm like, all right, you play around if you want. That's the Brown Chakra Network. That's the Brown Chakra Network. They have collectively got together, created a network for the high-level brown chakra conversion people, the people that have a high brown chakra conversion rate. And they've created a network. Yeah, they've banded together. Billy Carson has got contracts with these people. They contracted in with him. That's why he had to do damage control the other night. He had to do a whole damage control program because he still has these big investors, these people. Yeah, he still has these people who he got whole programs running on their platform, programs that's supposed to come out on their platform, right? And so it's not only unraveling him, but because he's the spokesman, for them in a target demographic. Let me explain to you how this works. And it has very much to do with the transmission of information and slavery and people being forced to follow you. And this is why things need to be repeated over and 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 over till you beat into submission. You get overwhelmed and beat into submission. That's different than grassroots, building it from the bottom up, right? It's totally different. When you need to hire the marketing, and this is to pump it and use the music and the visuals and all of these other things besides the truth to persuade, the art of persuasion. Each person hits a different target demographic, right? When you heard Billy, you seen him in the black demographic. But what happens when he gets exposed? When he gets exposed, you notice at his wedding, there are no black people there. When he's in this debate with Wes and Wes takes him out into the deep water, he goes, yeah, our ancestors, the Dogons and our ancestors. Wait a minute, hold on. You black again? Hold up. How he whooped you so bad? How he beat you so bad? He beat the brakes off you. You literally turned black and blue in a mental capacity. yo, he made him turn black and blue in a mental capacity. Like you turned black again. Like, wait a minute, because our ancestors. I'm like, wait, did he say our ancestors? I had to rewind the video. I was like, yo, this ninja. When was it our ancestors? What black folks you doing business with? What black folks at your wedding? See, it's fake. It's unraveling. So this is why when certain things happen, people distance themselves. Like right now, they're scared that people may distance themselves from Jay-Z because he got the controversy now, right? So companies that he's a part of, where he represents the marketing arm into the black community, right? He represents the brainwashing for the black community. They're like, oh, we might have to distance ourselves and get us another person to target that demographic. What I want you guys to be able to do is wake up and not get so caught on the one person, but look at the machine behind that person and go, who was promoting the hell out of this person to me? Right? You got to go, wait a minute. He with these people. Oh, wait a minute. Who else is he with? Oh, man. He with Dame Dash and Brother Yaki and Brother Rich and 19. They all promoting that brown chakra. They all promoting Bobby Hemming as their elder. They all have this Hindu, this is why they was all in line with Kamala. This is the support engine. This is why Ray J is out there. Ray J has a company that he got called the Gagency. I swear to God, I can't make this up. Ray J has a company called the Gagency. And they're in the back scenes promoting, making people go viral, making concepts go viral. And you don't realize when concepts have been planted in your subconscious that later on they get watered. They get watered, these concepts, and then later on come to fruition. And you thinking you're having original ideas, but you're not. These concepts have been seeded and watered because these organizations, they have plans that. This is why we have the book called They Not Like Us, where we talk about Aleister Crowley. And we talk about his protege and his protege developing, the technology of NASA with these big radars and radio antennas and what they're doing with those antennas and where they're actually broadcasting and what they're actually broadcasting. Because you are the target. It's here. This is the place that they need to penetrate between your ears. They can't even get to between your cheeks. They can't even get to the brown chakra until they get here. They've got to get you here. And so, yeah, some of the stuff is true. Some of the stuff is all wise, right, and exact. But that's what they put on the fishing hook. That's what they put as the bait. Let's throw this out in the ocean and see what we can reel in. So you guys got to not get caught on so much Billy Carson propaganda. Yes, it's cool. Billy is okay. We got it. What y'all got to pay attention to is the people that's going to pick up where he left off with the same program. Oh, yeah. The Bible goes against the women. It's patriarchal and, the chakra system. And yeah, chakra, women, chakra, women, chakra. Why do they mix the black woman is God or women are being oppressed with chakra talk? Because women do not have a homosexual act. Only men do. I need y'all to get that. Women do not have a homosexual act. Only men do. The only homosexual act, the real homosexual act, is penetration. That's it. Women are natural to be penetrated. Men are not. A man being penetrated is unnatural. So they could line up women to get involved with that, but that's just low-hanging fruit. You're attaching emotions. You're finding people who feel oppressed, and you're giving them a cause, getting them fired up. And they don't realize what they're getting fired up about is something totally different than what they hold as important. They're just being used and manipulated emotionally. So I just need people to realize this whole program, where did these people come from? All of a sudden, the conscious community is these guys? This is the conscious community now. This is the conscious community. This is the conscious community right now. So the globe believes that these guys right here is the conscious community. These guys. So I'm off it.
The leaf, it turns out, is a remarkable piece of technology. Light lands on a leaf in quantum energy packets called photons. Every second it spends in bright sunlight brings a leaf thousands of trillions of photons. And almost every one of the red ones is captured and its energy processed. Let's trace the path of that energy through the plant. The first stop is the antenna, an assembly of hundreds of photons. It's captured and its energy.
Okay, so this is a great picture right here. So it's showing you very specifically that each different type of pigment captures a different type of light. A different type of energy is captured by each different type of pigment. Right? Very specific. So immediately, before the energy gets into the system, it's already organized by pigment. As it's incoming, it's just like the ladies at the emergency room, you know, at the desk, when you come in, you got to get the number and then you got to fill out your paperwork and then they're going to tell you where to go in the hospital, right? Incoming. It's already structured immediately. There's no chaos. Upon entry, it's already organized. Different types of pigment is going to be able to harness different types of energy, period. The energy that each pigment cannot harness, right, is reflected or it just goes right on by, right? It's either reflected or it goes right on by, right? So that's what you need to notice off the rip. Just like when somebody's teaching. When somebody's teaching, right, knowledge is light. I need y'all to get this. Knowledge is light. So if your mind is not at a certain level, If your audience, if you're teaching and your audience is not at a certain level, or just different people in the audience, you have a different audience, or you have a mixed crowd, your words are not going to always fall on deaf ears. Some of the people will be able to absorb it. Other people will be repelled by it. Other people will miss it entirely, right? Because this is how light works, right? Remember what is happening in your brain, what's happening in your body. It is pigment that's doing all this processing. Inside your ears, you have crystals and melanin, right? Inside your eyes, you have a wide array of pigments, right? So all these different places where we have energy reception, organization, processing, you have different types of pigments, right? Opsins, globins, you name it, right? It's not just melanins in the human system, right? So, but every living system has a variety of different pigments for sorting, storing, transmitting, etc., different types of information. So information is immediately sorted, just like people. When you're teaching, you're transmitting light, right? If you got truth, you're sharing the truth with people, you're transmitting light. Some people are going to absorb it. Some people is going to bounce right off the side of their head. You know what I'm saying? Some people is going to go right past them.
Energy processed. Let's trace the path of that energy through the plant. The first stop is the antenna, an assembly of hundreds of thousands of chlorophyll molecules. Hit by the photon, an electron within the chlorophyll will become excited and use the extra energy to bounce through the antenna to a bridging area.
Okay, so notice the antenna is used interchangeably with the pigment. The structures that particularly are referred to are within the pigment molecule, right? Antenna, right? Sending, receiving.
This is composed of a complicated arrangement of chlorophyll molecules. You can imagine it as an intertwined maze of roped bridges that, if you can find... The leaf, it turns out, is a remarkable piece of technology. Light lands on a leaf in quantum energy packets called photons. Every second it spends in bright sunlight brings a leaf thousands of trillions of photons. And almost every one of the red ones is captured and its energy processed. Let's trace the path of that energy through the plant. The first stop is the antenna, an assembly of hundreds of thousands of chlorophyll molecules. Hit by the photon, an electron within the chlorophyll will become excited and use the extra energy to bounce through the antenna to a bridging area. This is composed of a complicated arrangement of chlorophyll molecules. You can imagine it as an intertwined maze of roped bridges that, if you can find the path through, lead to the all-important reaction center. Once at the reaction center, the electron creates a permanently separated charge that is essentially energy that can be stored. It's the same thing.
Now, that little ball right there, that was a great visual. So you see the chlorophyll molecule, the green, the photons are coming in. The photons are immediately just being transformed into electrons, right? So they don't even make a thing to show you the differentiation. You just see the photon coming in, and then all of a sudden it's an electron. That's the magic of pigment, right? But then you see a ball, right, grabbing the electrons and shuttling them over, right? Inside your cells, that's NAD. Very important to get that understanding, because one of the things that sugar does, specifically fructose, right? Fructose inhibits your body from, from making NAD, but more specifically, from metabolizing tryptophan, which then becomes NAD. Right? So it's important for you to know tryptophan is the star of the show in regards of that NAD molecule, because when they spray the chemicals on the food and the chemicals mess up the Shikimate pathway, one of the main things that you can't get from that food is the aromatic amino acids, one of which is tryptophan that your body turns into NAD to carry those electrons around, right? So that's important for you to understand in terms of how this whole little cascade of, quantum mechanical events, they dress it up and really, they dress up the wording to run you off. You hear so many big words back to back to back, you might start going to sleep or turn the channel. Let me see what DJ Academic's talking about. Let me see if Puff Daddy and Jay-Z rape that girl. Like, your mind just go to something easier and simpler to deal with, right? So I want you to see this guy here, right here. This is guy right here. That's, I just want you to pay attention to all these little moving parts.
Its energy processed. Let's trace the path of that energy through the plant. The first stop is the antenna, an assembly of hundreds of thousands of chlorophyll molecules. Hit by the photon, an electron within the chlorophyll will become excited and use the extra energy to bounce through the antenna to a bridging area. This is composed of a complicated arrangement of chlorophyll molecules. You can imagine it as an intertwined maze of rope bridges that, if you can find the path through, lead to the all-important reaction center. Once at the reaction center, the electron creates a permanently separated charge that is essentially energy that can be stored. It's the same thing that makes a fully charged battery such a useful source of power. At that point, the energy is safe and properly stored, ready for use by the plant. There's just one catch. The reaction center is a nearly impossible place to reach. Getting through the bridging area is a nightmare, and it has to be done quickly. The maze of wobbly rope bridges will absorb all the photon's energy if it takes too long to find the reaction center.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. You see the NAD, the ATP. So all of this is very similar to what you got going on in your body, right?
Place to reach. Getting through the bridging area is a nightmare.
See, they zooming in and you're going to see the electron transport chain. Very similar to yours.
And it has to be done quickly.
Yeah, very similar to yours. This right here is number 5. This right here is the FO motor, right?
The maze of wobbly rope bridges will absorb all the photon's energy if it takes too long to find the reaction center. A packet of energy has about 1 nanosecond to get across the bridge. Some might chance upon the right path and make it through in time. Most, though, won't. This is where the quantum tricks and Gregory Scholl's research team comes in. Their conclusion? Our results suggest that the energy of absorbed light resides in 2 places at once. This weird phenomenon is officially known as quantum superposition. It is written into the mathematics of quantum theory, which describes the position of a particle only in terms of probabilities of finding it in various different places. In certain circumstances, the particle can occupy multiple positions at once. And it turns out that to achieve the remarkable efficiency of photosynthesis, algae and their evolutionary descendants, plants, employ quantum superposition so that the energy can simultaneously travel along all possible paths to the reaction center. That way, it always gets there on time. As far as we understand it, when a photon of sunlight hits a leaf, its energy is passed to electrons within the leaf's chlorophyll molecules. Those excited electrons move to the reaction center not by random hops, as was thought, but by exploiting their quantum mechanical ability to take all available paths at the same time. It's such an exciting discovery because it raises the possibility that we could do the same. If the messy world of biology can exploit this quantum mechanical trick to the maximum by evolutionary trial and error, perhaps we can deliberately engineer the same feats to occur in our own solar panels.
Right? Now, that's how light works. That's how knowledge works. That's how you build people that are interested in the information. So as you're studying, as you're getting the books, it's going to happen. Let me show you. Let me show you something. Let me show you something. This is crazy. Look at this. Now, let me show you this. Now, I want y'all to pay attention to this because when I'm writing, right? When I'm writing, I need distractions. When I'm writing, I need distractions, right? And it's just a way to balance my mind, right? It's just a way to balance my mind. So YouTube be just doing its thing sometimes. If I don't have Lo-fi playing or like a fur release, something, like a classical piano or something playing, I'll have YouTube and YouTube would be jumping around, right? So just by pure chance, when I say pure chance, I have not been on this man's page purposefully in, I don't know, maybe 6 months, maybe a year or more. You know what I'm saying? It's been a minute. It's been a minute. And it just so happens that the first time I go on this page, he was attempting to steal the drip. Now, mind you, my less spiritual EnQi would have went somewhere else with this clip. But I'm showing you somebody red-handed in the cookie jar. This is not a herbalist. This is not a healer. This is somebody red-handed in the cookie jar. I'm talking about in the cookie jar like this, red-handed. You sneaking in the kitchen in the middle of the night. You digging in the cookie jar, and then out of nowhere, your father just walk up on you and flip the light on. Boop, what you doing in that cookie jar? Uncomfortable smile, busted hand in the cookie jar. I was just counting all the cookies to make sure the cookies was right in the cookie jar. Get your hand out of that cookie jar. Get your hand out of my pocket. Malcolm X moment. I'm talking about you could not imagine this moment. I couldn't even believe as I was watching it unfold. I couldn't even believe as I was watching it unfold before my eyes. I was like, yo, is he getting ready to give me props for this? Or is he getting ready to try to say, I'm like, yo, what is happening right here? This is crazy. Look, hand in the cookie jar. I'm talking about in the cookie jar. Now, this is not like somebody from outside the community. Hey, all bets is off. Outside the community, hand in the cookie jar.
So now you're gonna see how I put together a quick presentation. I'm just gonna snip this mountain right for y'all. And I'm gonna put this mountain inside the camera just so we can see it real quick. Screenshots. Here, man. There we go. Hold on. I'm taking too long. You're supposed to be able to do this hella quick. So slap that right there. And then I just want us to deal with the dude for a minute, right?
Wow, that's
I don't want to do it like that, though. Hold on.
Bro ain't gonna say.
All right, so now we got the Mountain Dew. And that's the way you're going to remember it.
Bro.
Now, in ancient Egyptian, you transliterate this as like that, right? Now, this is what I want to trip off. Egyptology speak, and I want y'all to see how he's pointing out the D and the W. Now, if you learn Egyptology speak, how are you going to pronounce this word to me? You can't pronounce two consonants. Just like he told you, you're going to inject a E in the middle of the consonants in order to pronounce the word for scholastic purposes. Not to be acting like that's how it sounded. So you put a E here. Now this is a mountain. See? It's funny. But what's happening here is this D represents the DJ sound because it's a Jenga. And the D is silent like in most African languages if you come across that DJ constant cluster. So you're really going to pronounce Jew, even though you see do, and really what you see is this in transliteration.
You're trying to steal the spiel.
Now let me show you something. That's if you think that this consonant is a W. Because it is consonants that need to be separated by vowels.
Hold on,
you don't need to separate vowels by vowels.
Or hating.
You see, vowels are the sounds that connect consonants, basically. And then you got other ones like the glottal stops.
Now, hold on. Let me stop this for a second. Because I know y'all hear my commentary. That's not me talking right now. That's not me talking right now. That's me talking while I was screen recording it. Because I couldn't believe what was happening in front of my eyes. I was like, yo, is he hating or is he stealing? Like, I didn't know what he was doing. I thought he was like debunking me because this is a part of the whole crew of people that be telling me, you know, they pop up in the chat room from time to time and say, EnQi, you need to stay in your lane, brother. You don't know what you're talking about. You know, when I was over there saying that the aorta, you know, when I was breaking down the wild scepter and all, oh, EnQi, you got to stay in your lane, brother. You got, this is part of that crew. So in my mind, I'm saying to myself, I don't know where this is coming from. Is this hating? Is he getting ready to debunk me because I just put my book out? Or is he trying to steal all the spiel? Is he trying to steal the drip? In my mind, I'm saying to myself, this cannot be happening. I know he's not handing the cookie jar. Like, I know he's not. Listen, for the people that don't know what I'm talking about, let me stop this for a second. Let me stop this for a second because I gotta not be arrogant. Like, everybody watches every video. So some of y'all may not know, right? Some of y'all may not know. Some of y'all may not understand what's happening right now, right? But I have a long-standing history with these guys. Because remember, mind you, he was part of the Amun-Ra squad. When I was at war with the Amun-Ra squad, he was with them. He's an Amun-Ra squad member. This is an Amun-Ra squad member. And as I'm teaching, going over there just recently, going back and forth with Reggie about the medicine and the papyri and all that, I'm trying to link in with brothers. I'm even trying to link in with these brothers like, yo, we need to teach the people. This is a great teaching opportunity. Let's get together and teach the crickets. I don't hear no responses because they still got their band of brothers, you know. They teaching people that I don't know what I'm talking about. You got your hand in the cookie jar? So let me explain to the people that may not understand what's going on right now. Because I know y'all like, wait, what is happening right now, EnQi? What is going on right now, EnQi? What are you talking about? This is what I'm talking about. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. And this is what I'm talking about when I say the people will have no choice but to follow you. Even the people that hate, when your light shine bright enough, they will have no choice but to follow. Even if they follow in secret. Even if they follow you in secret, they will have no choice to follow. And this is what the slavery that the Bible is talking about. The Bible is talking about when you start to radiate that light from the inside out, even your enemies, even the people that slandered your name, they will have no choice but to follow. They will have no choice but to follow. Because if they don't, it's to their own detriment. So right now, as we start to teaching the world about heart disease and how you know who found the cause and the cure and the trigger for heart disease in the Bible. Oh, the world gonna have to follow. If you don't follow, this is the big one, right? So I'm just showing you a live example because listen, peace and blessings to this brother here, right? Peace and blessings to this brother. It's not a Dr. EnQi exposed video because this brother got more knowledge about the metal nature in his pinky finger than I got, because that's not my thing. This is a person that dedicated his whole life to studying the metal nature. He dedicated a big portion of it to telling people that I don't know what I'm talking about, but you know, he's down with Team Reggie and you know, he's down with. So when I dropped the book, right? Do y'all remember? Some of y'all was in the live stream when I dropped the book, and literally people from over there came into the chat and said, I didn't know what I was talking about. I had to block a few people. They was in the chat trolling. Oh, EnQi, you got to stick to your lane, brother, blah, blah, blah. EnQi, you got to stick to your lane, brother, blah, blah, blah. Look at this. The book is named Mountain Dew. Like literally, we got a soda can right here. Like, so just in case, you know, and I have to do these things like this in a fashion where people can see, because otherwise, like I tried to explain to you guys, when people steal a spiel and broadcast it, they're using the fact that in your mind, right? Let's say, for instance, I don't have the video. Let's say, for instance, it's confusing. Weeks go by, months goes by. And I make a discovery, but he passes it off as his discovery. Who is the world going to believe came up with this Mountain Dew? Who's they going to believe came out with this information and blah, blah? Who? Not me. I deal with the health information. He dedicated his whole life to studying the metal nature. So, of course, people would think. And this is how people are able to steal. This is how people are able to steal the drip. It just so happened. It just so happened that God put me on that channel at that moment. So when you listening to the video, I'm not talking right now. You hearing my live reaction because I couldn't believe what I was witnessing, right? I couldn't believe what I was witnessing live as it was happening. Like I was witnessing it as it was happening. I could not believe that.
So now you're gonna see how I put together a quick presentation. I'm just gonna snip this mountain right for y'all. So now you're gonna see how I put together a quick presentation. I'm just gonna snip this mountain right for y'all. And I'm gonna put this mountain inside the camera just so we can see it real quick. Screenshots. Here, man. There we go. Hold on. I'm taking too long. You're supposed to be able to do this hella quick. So slap that right there. And then I just want us to deal with the do for a minute, right?
Wow, that's
I don't want to do it like that, though. Hold on.
Bro ain't gonna say he
All right, so now we got the Mountain Dew. And that's the way you're going to remember it.
Bro.
Now, in ancient Egyptian, you transliterate this as like that, right? Now, this is what I want to trip off. Egyptology speak, and I want y'all to see how he's pointing out the D and the W. Now, if you learn Egyptology speak, how are you going to pronounce this word to me? You can't pronounce two consonants. Just like he told you, you're going to inject a E in the middle of the consonants in order to pronounce the word for scholastic purposes. Not to be acting like that's how it sounded. So you put a E here. Now this is a mountain. See? It's funny. But what's happening here is this D represents the DJ sound because it's a Jenga. And the D is silent like in most African languages if you come across that DJ constant cluster. So you're really going to pronounce Jew, even though you see do, and really what you see is this in transliteration.
Trying to steal the spiel.
Now let me show you something. That's if you think that this consonant is a W, because it is consonants that need to be separated by vowels. You don't need to separate vowels by vowels.
Or hating.
You see, vowels are the sounds that connect consonants, basically. And then you got other ones like the glottal stops. But that's what vowels do, connect consonants. So think about this. If this isn't a consonant, then you're going to have the same thing, what you're going to have. See the difference? You don't have to inject the E in here. And it's not Egyptology speak anymore. This would have still rendered,
yo, that's crazy.
What? Jew.
Bro, yo, this was crazy.
You tripped off that? So we got to understand which terms might be. Now let's talk about Dahudi. And you want to notice how this DJew is in the front of the name Dahudi, even though it don't got nothing to do with him being part of the mountain or nothing. I just wanted y'all to see how that is working. In the name Jehudi, we go straight from a DJ to a U and not a W, right? Because they want to entertain Jehudi without putting an E in the middle because they don't call him Jehudi.
Bro.
So I'm talking about the differences between Egyptology speak, the way things might have possibly been really said, and then us understanding the truth. But when you come across this symbol, you always can use my simple little way to remember it.
Your blood clot boy.
And I just gave you the explanation.
Yo! What?
Say Mountain Dew, even though it's Jew, because we just wrote about tea.
Bro.
So I'm talking about the differences between Egyptology speak, the way things might have possibly been.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't fix that because, like I said, that was the live me reacting to it as it's happening. So I'm confused as I'm watching this. Just so we could bring it back. I'm confused as I'm watching this. I don't know why. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if he's debunking me, hating as you know. Oh, EnQi, you stay in your lane. You got the health information. You don't know nothing about this. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe this is him proving that I don't know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like logically, this would be an opportunity for the whole team Kemet on that side of town, you know, to prove EnQi finally once and for all, stay in your lane. You don't know what you're talking about. So I'm thinking that's what's going on. Like I might have mispronounced something or whatever, even though it still would not change the premise that I laid down in the book. Because again, what we're talking about in the book is culture and nationality and religion and God and something totally, right? So I don't know what direction he going in with this, right? It's still up in the air, right? The moment when he lays claim to it, I could not help that reaction. So I got to apologize. When he say, I came up with, or this is my way of, what he said, what he said, yo, this was, I couldn't believe this. I was like, yo, I said, yo, this is crazy right here. This is wild. Like, why would they? This is the same as, look, when I came out with the Y Scepter, right? Ali Muhammad made a fake website and put it on his blog to try to pretend like, yo, oh my God. Listen, these guys is wild with what they'll do. And this is the reason why it's books now. I just want y'all to understand this all. This is the reason why it's books now. Everything goes in books now. So when you see Brother Yaki over there out of nowhere, it sounds like his whole herpes program is literally him reading out of my book. It's because his whole herpes program is him reading out of my book. Like, but again, he got, you know, he down with the Billy Carson and Brother Rich crew, so they done put all their stuff together, so they all got a zillion followers. So when you see Yaki talking about woo woo, it seemed like, oh yeah, because he belongs to a clique of YouTubers where they saying woo whoop. So it's like, oh, okay, yeah, the herpes information came from. No, EnQi has already released that book, bro. Ain't nothing you could do now. See, this is the purpose of these books. This is the purpose of these books, because now everybody is hand in the cookie jar. They're looking around like that. Hand in the cookie jar. Looking crazy. Busted. He been studying metal nature his whole life. His whole existence is about metal nature. And you gonna rob little old me? You know, the guy that's supposed to stay in his lane? I ain't supposed to teach Kemet. And it's crazy how this goes on, because the black guys, listen to this, the black guys would tell you that Kemet is black and Kemet is a black legacy, right? And then when other black guys start teaching about information from the black legacy, they will say, hey, stop that. You don't have the right to teach about that information. Stay in your lane, brother. You're supposed to be teaching about. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. So Kemet is the black folks, the black legacy. So black guy starts teaching black information, black legacy. You tell me to stop that. White guys start teaching about the Kemetic information. You go, hey, this is a scholar. We should tune into this scholar right here and reference his material, because this guy right here is a polished scholar he has a PhD in scholarnomics. So we're going to go ahead and jump on his Johnson and stroke it down. And every time that we mention something that we got from Scholar Johnson here, we're going to make sure that we reference it. And we're going to say that you guys should also go ahead and study with Scholar Johnson here. But then when you come over to get the drip, the stuff that make the people go, oh, I want to learn about that. You pretending you came up with that. And you got that from the stone that they rejected, the cornerstone. I'm the stone they rejected, the cornerstone. So again, you got to forgive me when I'm watching this, because I know I get a little loud on it, but I'm like, yo, I couldn't believe my man said, no, this is the shortcut I came up with so you can understand it. No, that's the shortcut I came up with so people can understand it. I don't blood clot this.
That's if you think that this consonant is a W. Because it is consonants that need to be separated by vowels. You don't need to separate vowels by vowels. You see, vowels are the sounds that connect consonants, basically. And then you got other ones like the glottal stops. But that's what vowels do, connect consonants. So think about this. If this isn't a consonant, then you're going to have the same thing, what you're going to have. See the difference? You don't have to inject the E in here. And it's not Egyptology speak anymore. This would have still rendered what? Jew.
Bruh, this was crazy.
You tripped off that? So we got to understand which terms might be. Now let's talk about the Hootie. And you want to notice how this DJew is in the front of the name Hootie.
Now listen, I want y'all to really get a look at his face. I want y'all to look at his face when he sees me jump into his chat room. Yo, I ain't been on his channel in maybe 6 months or a year or something like that. It's been a long time. So he absolutely was in a very comfortable space, stealing the drip. And these people done insulated their audiences, right? They've insulated their audiences where they done told their people, EnQi is pseudo. EnQi is making up stuff. EnQi got to stick to the health, blah, blah, blah. So he's in a comfort zone. He's thinking that he's alone in his space. He's just doing his thing, you know, usual. Like the usual. You know what I'm saying? Like the usual. And he just, you know, yeah. So, you know, I'm going to show you how to do this with the mountain. And so with the mountain Jew. And so what happens is with the Jew, you know, with the Jew, because it's the DW with the consonant and the woo, woo, woo. I don't even know all that fancy stuff, how he's phrasing it. I don't even know how. And I know what happens. See, it happens the same way all the time. It's the guy with the gold teeth. How he know this? Where's he getting this from? How is the guy with the gold teeth from the Bronx? I read, I study. See, I told y'all earlier, this is what happens with smart people masquerading as dumb people. You play fool to catch the wise. He had no idea that while he was handing the cookie jar, I am standing there watching him in the kitchen. I'm watching him in the kitchen. I'm watching him go get the dining room. I watched him go into the dining room. Listen, I watched him go in the dining room, get the dining room chair, right? Quietly bring the dining room chair over to the refrigerator, prop it up against the refrigerator, and then climb up on the dining room chair, reach up over the fridge, grab the cookie jar, put the cookie jar down on the chair, then climb down off the chair, and then put the cookie jar on the counter. And then as soon as he dipped his hand in there, that's when I turned the light on and say, "What you doing?" Oh, yo, shout out to EnQi, yo, with the book out. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to EnQi with the book out. What? Bruh. Hand in the cookie jar. Watch how he look when he see me pop in the chat room.
Even though it don't got nothing to do with him being part of the mountain or nothing, I just wanted y'all to see how that is working. In the name Jehudi, we go straight from a DJ to a U and not a W, right? Because they want to entertain Jehudi without putting an E in the middle because they don't call him Jew-Houthi. Bro. So I'm talking about the differences between Egyptology speak, the way things might have possibly been really said, and then us understanding the truth. But when you come across this symbol, you always can use my simple little way to remember it.
Your blood clot boy.
And I just gave you the explanation.
Yo! What?
Say Mountain Dew, even though it's Jew, because we just wrote about the archaisms, right?
Archaeize.
The archaisms or whatever. Meaning that eventually this D and this J will start being the DJ and the D glyph will start being interchangeable. So this mountain is called Dew. Jew. To be accurate, it's called Jew, but you can remember it by Mountain Dew. So if you see this glyph, when we start reading the glyphs, you're going to remember that it's a mountain. And what do you pronounce? Jew.
That's crazy.
All right, but let's go back to here. And that was just an illustration of how their system ain't always the way we pronounced it. Sometimes it really could have been the way it was said. But otherwise, we freely insert the vowel E. Oh, hold on, I don't want to be going off the green screen camera. Otherwise, we freely insert the vowel E just so we can pronounce the sounds as syllables. This is purely arbitrary, and the resulting sounds bear no resemblance to the original spoken Egyptian. So we all been clear on that.
Yo, that's crazy.
Shout out to EnQi for putting that in his book that you dropped a week ago. Yeah. So now y'all know, we know. So when I
Yo, that's crazy.
shout out to EnQi for putting that in his book that you dropped a week ago. Yeah. So now
Yo, that's crazy.
shout out to EnQi for putting that in his book that you dropped a week ago. Yeah. So now
Yo, that's crazy.
shout out to EnQi for putting that in his book that you dropped a week ago. Yeah.
Come on, let's dap it up. We got our secret handshake, right? Pow, pow, pow. Shh. Come on, we got our secret handshake. Bring it in. Right, look. 5, backhand, 5, grip it, bring it in. Shh. That's our secret handshake. We got to have a secret handshake because God's stealing the drip. Right? They trying to steal all the spiel. They trying to steal all the spiel. Now listen, I read. I be studying. So I be pulling stuff. But in the middle of that, in the mix of study, you have your own insights, your own first-hand information that you come up with. That's literally why that's on the cover of the book, Mountain Dew with the soda can. And we got 1,000 of those things. We got 1,000 of those things. 1 million of those things. Right? But it's important, though, to just get the context. These is the folks that's telling you guys that I'm not supposed to be studying Kemet. Meanwhile, they studying me. Hold on. I'm not supposed to be studying Kemet, but meanwhile, they studying me in secret, getting busted. Why? Because I just showed you the quantum dynamics. I just showed you how light is transferred. I just showed you that light organizes itself. I just showed you. We went through it, right? We went through the different pigments, how the light functions. Knowledge is light. Knowledge is information. It's data. You transmit it electrically or light, right? Or what? Mechanical waves, sound. These principles are natural principles. So when you see Hebrew Israelites and they're on the corner and they talking about, yeah, and we're going to enslave the oppressors and we're going to be raping the kids and da-da-da-da. Whoa, champ, you got to relax. Y'all are getting high or drunk or I don't know what y'all are doing together, but y'all are reinforcing crazy. Like that's that Yahawashai. That's how they came up with that Yahawashai. Because they keep talking to each other. Yeah, and God's real name is Yahawashai. No, Jesus' real name is Yahawashai. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Jesus is God. So yeah, Yahawashai. What? Yeah. And when we take over the world and we put everybody else into slavery, wait, what is happening right now? Because the Bible says right here. Like, no, that's not what the Bible's talking about. God is light. The Bible is giving you a clear moral code on how you're supposed to treat others. So if you are the true children, you wouldn't even want to turn around and put somebody in bondage. If you understand what the Bible is saying because you transgressed against the law, you were put into bondage. So why would you then, in turn, get out so you could transgress again? Like, wait, so the Bible says because you transgressed against the law, you was put into bondage for a certain amount of time. So you waiting for that time to be up. That's like recidivism. That's what we're dealing with in the neighborhood. Folks going to jail for committing crimes, and the whole time they in jail, they're thinking of better ways to commit the crime. They're not thinking, this is what I'm hoping that Polite is doing. I'm hoping that Polite is in prison thinking about where he went wrong at. And when I say where he went wrong at, not thinking, oh man, I could have covered up the evidence like this. I could have did it anyway and not got busted. Because that's what most people do in prison. They spend their time thinking about how they could have better got away with the crime instead of how wrong they were for committing the crime in the first place. And that's what you're listening to Hebrew Israelites saying. No matter how organized their thought sounds, it only sounds organized because the book is organized and they know the book well, at least at a surface level, right? But when it talks about the oppressed, enslaving the oppressors, it's about your moral code. It's about your knowledge, your information, how you present yourself to the world. It's saying that you're going to be at such a level with the information. You're going to be at such a level with the information, the knowledge, the wisdom. You're going to be such a gift to the world. You're going to be such a light to the world that the world is now going to have to follow you. The meek will inherit the earth. And that's what we're doing. If you listen to all these arguments that people are having, they go, yeah, and they ain't really helping the people anyway. It ain't like they really, well, there's only really one group of people that's doing that on the internet, and that's us. We're the only people with a track record of not only healing people, but teaching people how to heal people and creating a domino effect. and still doing it with new information and new research, right? And still building, right? Light is self-organizing. Nah, they ain't gonna be able to steal a handshake. You know why? It's the same thing with Masonry, right? Freemasonry is a secret society, a secret organization. But meanwhile, all the information is on the internet. Why can't people just steal it? It's because what you cannot fake is the day-to-day interactions that goes along with that handshake. So when I see you, right? I know your face, you know my face, but there's people that I don't know their face. They might try to pass off a handshake to me or try to pass off a handshake to you, right? Guess what? The moment you start talking to them about the books, the moment you start talking to them about moments that we've shared, they don't know none of that. They just saw the handshake and they copying it. You'll know if they're really part of this community because you'll be like, hey, so you on the Patreon? Remember when we did this? And or remember that time when this, what book you on? What book you on? Right? What book you on? When the last time you did your 100, you on the 120 day, they're not going to know anything that's associated with the community. So they can see the handshake if they want, but if they're not with us, it'll show. It'll show. Remember, what happens with the light? When it's not the right frequency, it goes or it bounces off you. Right? If it ain't the right frequency, it's going to go past you or bounce off you. We got to start taking these abstract concepts and realizing that this is real life. Right? That's why it's important. That's why it's important when I bring it out. Right? When I bring it out, the information, right? When I bring out the information and we go, okay, Osiris, right? In the Greek, right? Right? But I'm using this on purpose, right? In the Greek, right? Known as the perfect black, right? Now, the Greeks, as students, right? As students, they gave us this term, right? Which the Romans, as students of the Greeks, they gave us this term, right? This is how it comes to us modern day, right? This is how it comes to us modern day. So it was always me, my curiosity and study with ancient Egypt, right? Kemet, right? Misnomer, Kemet, right? Was the heart. And my whole beef with these people started over the weighing of the heart ceremony. I'm trying to tell them, listen, y'all don't know what y'all think. Y'all around here teaching a bunch of nothing when it comes to the weighing of the heart ceremony. With the weighing of the heart ceremony, we got an opportunity to take this ancient information instead of just making it about selling tickets to debate against each other of Christian versus Hebrew versus Muslim versus. I'm like, yo, we could actually change the world with this. I found something. I found something. We could change the world with this. Help me. Forget that. What you talking about? Help me. We can change the world. It don't matter if you Muslim. It don't matter if you Christian. It don't matter if you a Hebrew Israelite. It don't matter if you a Jew. If you a Hasidic Jew. If you a Buddhist. If you a Confucianism. None of that matters, because guess what? The number one killer in the world is heart disease. White people, black people, yellow people, tan people, whatever type of distinctions you need, right? Nationalities, colors, however variety you want to put them into. Heart disease is killing everybody. And I done went through these ancient texts, and I have found the solution. Our ancestors left it for us like a time capsule. It's right here in the way into the heart ceremony. Look, way into the heart ceremony. First of all, the heart is the woo 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 and the magnetism and the blah blah blah. That's pseudo. You don't know what you're talking about. Stick with the health information. I'm like, yo, no. This is the health information. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? But I had to realize wrong frequency. It's going past them or reflecting off them. Get it? Get it? So now we got the books, the documentation, we got the studies, we didn't even went as far as to show that there's something behind the SA node and the AV node. There's something behind the SA node and the AV node. Yeah. There's something behind that. And how did I figure that out? How did I even know to look for that? How did I know to look for that? Because I was looking at how babies develop. Taking my time, meticulously studying how a baby develops. Okay, so the sperm cell fertilized the egg cell, then what? Okay, the egg cell fertilized, it got to travel, boop, then it embeds itself into the wall. Once it embeds itself into the wall, mom cell surrounds it. They start to clone it. Now you have the marula, the 2 turning to 4, turning to 8, turning to 16. Then you have the mouth of creation, the 3 layers, like a bottom lip, a top lip, and a tongue in the middle, right? Now cells start to differentiate and turn into specific cells, and you get brain development and heart development and all of this stuff. And you notice some interesting anomalies. There's a slight soft pulse before you actually have an organized heart. Very interesting, right? Very interesting. So then I'm noticing anomalies with the studies with what I'm also studying in the Kemetic text, right? Because I find out that men have heart tissue only in their heart, but women have heart tissue in their heart and their womb, right? So this is an anomaly I'm looking at. Oh, wait a minute. So this is this whole ISIS thing here. Interesting. Mental note, right? Mental note. The melanocytes are cells that travel all over the body. Melanocytes travel. Melanocytes travel all over the body. So this is why I got that video clip, right, where I show the fish. As the fish is developing, the melanocytes travel all over the body. Let me show y'all that again so y'all can see in context in real time. When I'm showing the melanin, because this happens in humans. This happens in humans. It's not just in the Bantu Mandinka. You gotta get you some books, man. Bantu Mandinka, you be watching who's fake page? This must be somebody fake page. You gotta find out who this is. This is one of them fake spy pages, because he always watching and don't got none of the books. So what are you doing over here? What are you doing over here if you always watching and you ain't got none of the material? You gotta ask them questions, man. What is you doing over here? If you always watching and you ain't got none of the material, you can't say you supporting, because you ain't got none of the material. You over here trying to steal all the spiel? You over here trying to steal all the spiel? You want to know what I found out? Look. Now go get you a book. Go get you a book or 10. Or 10. Hey, what is this? Is this it right here? No, this ain't it. Man, where is... I guess you wonder where... Hold on, man. That joint is... I thought it was on this. I thought it was in here somewhere. No. Nope, it ain't on that one. Man, I thought it was in here, because this one got like the most slides. So usually when I'm looking for something, it's usually in here somewhere. See, you busted asking questions that we didn't answer in at least 700 books already. We didn't answer that question in at least 700 books. Hold on.
Yo. Hey, Rush.
Oh, here you go, right here. Here you go, right here. Boop. Look at this. Look at this. This is what I was looking for, right here.
But they may never find what they dream of. What you want to do for love. You tried it.
You see how that pigment spread out all over that body? That's how your melanin, that's how your melanocytes spread out all over your body. Melanocytes, when the embryo is developing, they travel from the central location and spread out all over, right? So understanding that part, I begin to go and look. I begin to go and look for the Holy of Holies, right? The Holy of Holies. And look and you will find.
Yo.
See that?
Hey.
This right here is pigment right here, regulating the heartbeat. This is pigment regulating the heartbeat. Yeah. So it's pigment regulating the heartbeat, right? So we find these guys, right? So now it gets way more interesting, right? Now I have a direct throughway. Now I have a direct throughway, and I'm talking about from diabetes to heart disease. And not only a direct throughway from diabetes to heart disease, but I'm talking about a direct throughway that specifically puts darker people at risk to be able to answer the question that nobody can answer. Oh, yeah, you know, you black? Oh yeah, history of blackness? Look, do you have a history of blackness that runs in your family? Are you guys, is blackness running in your family? Okay, well, yeah, you clearly might have a higher risk of diabetes if you got blackness running in your family. That's, yeah, you might have yeah, and you probably going to have high blood pressure. Your kidneys also probably going to stop working. Your heart is going to also stop working. Your penis is definitely going to stop working. You'll get prostate, but we can, don't worry, we can handle that prostate for you. We can, yeah, don't worry about it. You'll enjoy it too, because we're going to go ahead up into that anus chakra and fix the prostate, yeah. See, I got an aversion to that. I'm like, oh, whoa. I need to pioneer some research so I can avoid. Yeah, I need to figure out how to avoid that. I don't think I want to have that. Yeah. So what I got to do? So what are we doing? Chicken and Pepsi along with this, or salad and no this? Okay, I'll have a salad. Yeah, I'll have a salad. The salad come without the program? Okay, yeah, because I'm going to have me some salad. Oh, can I get a smoothie with that? Is a green? Let me get a. Yeah. What do I need? See, so I start to motivate. I start having my own personal motivation to study this information. No, listen. That's why we have one of those books. See, listen. All the information is now in books, though. Right? It's all in the books. So that way, right? It's now in books. So if they try to steal all the spiel, right? They can't steal all the spiel, right? Because we got books, right? We got books. So what happens is now we want to figure out about the prostate, right? If we want to figure out about the herpes, we good. There's a book for that, right? There's a book for that. We want to know about the PCOS, the Candida, the HIV. There's a book for that, right? There's a book for all these things. There's a book for conception. There's a book for fibroids, right? There's a book for autism, right? There's a book for the heart disease, right? This is the book that has the cholesterol challenge in it, right? There's a book for all these things. Look. There's a book for the prostate information, right? There's a book for that, right? We have a book for that. Yeah. We got a book for that there, right? Now, obviously, right, you're not going to be able to grab, get all the information in one book, because that's why we have so many books. So books will reference other books. Some books are more in depth than others, right? Because we can't just write like the same book 1,000 times over and over and over. No. So we'll give you new information and then reference the other books and go, okay, well, To get this part, you need to go get this book, right? But certain books you need to have, right? Certain books you need to have. For instance, we go back, right? This book you need to have. This is the Constitution, right? This is the Constitution. You need to have this book. This is the Declaration of Independence. You need to have this book, right? These are huge books. These are big, huge books, but you need to have these books. This is advanced biochemistry. This right here is advanced kinesiology. So if you want to know how to control the expression of your DNA, that's what this book here is for. Right? That's what this book is for. If you want to understand the chemical makeup of all food substances, that's what this book is for. Right? So these books are going to be referenced a lot. Right? These books are going to be referenced a lot. Now, when we get into a lot of the historical side, this book is going to be referenced a lot. So you need to have these 3 books, right? Because the other books are going to reference these books a lot, right? Then you have, you know, obviously, you got to take this with you to the supermarket every day, right? You got to take this with you to the supermarket every day. My name is Minister EnQi. I am the naturopathic doctor and the spokesman for the Melanin vs. Diabetes Ministry. Every time you go to the supermarket without the electrician grocery shopping list, it's like putting a loaded gun to your head. Stop playing Russian roulette with your life. Help us make America great again. Learn how to save time. Learn how to save money with the electrician grocery shopping list on Amazon now. Go to Amazon now. The life you save may be your own. Yeah. Now, let's go a step further, right? Let's go a step further. When we're talking about the Ankh, right? When we're talking about the Ankh, right? That's the reason why this book was important, right? Let me show you. This book here is important to understanding the Ankh. This book right here, right? Because you need to understand a couple of things in order to really understand the Ankh better, right? Now let's talk about the Ankh for a second. Now, cardiac melanocytes, we got that. At the heart, the center of the heart that's controlling your heart and your lifespan is melanin, right? We got that. Put that on the back burner for a second. We got that. Remove it. Right? Now, with the Ankh, right? There's places in the Kemetic text, right? In the Kemetic literature where the Ankh is reduced to a sandal, a foot strap. You see this? And when you look at the professional breakdown, they'd be like, oh yeah, this is a sandal, this is a foot strap. And you'd be looking right at that like, wait a minute, is that the Ankh or is that a foot strap? Some places they're going to say this is the Ankh. Some places going to be foot strap. It's going to have the same little spelling with the little weird, you know, like it's going to have the same whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, so the information game keeping you locked out of your stuff. So what happens is, in past times, all you had to do was restrict people from the information. Today, you can't restrict nobody from information physically. The way you restrict people from information is programming them against it, right? So you got to understand that using a picture, the whole purpose to using a picture in the first place is because a picture has multiple levels of meaning. That's the beauty about using a picture versus a letter, right? That's the difference, right? With alphabets, right? So with an alphabet of letters, the letters comes together to describe a picture. But using pictures in and of themselves already, right? Jadakiss already said it best. I hide from the cameras. Why? Because a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? A picture is worth 1,000 words. So it's levels to it, right? Okay. So on the basic level, right? The most basic level, we went over it, right? You have a magnetic line of force, right? You have a magnetic line of force. When an electron, let's do it sideways. You have a magnetic line of force, right? When an electron intersects at an angle, right? You're going to have a snaking effect. The electron is going to spiral around that magnetic line of force, traveling in that direction. It's going to continue to travel that way, spiraling around. So you have that, like that healing stick with the snake going around it, right? That's what happens when an electron intersects a magnetic field line at an angle, right? Now, when an electron intersects directly to a magnetic field line, it stays right there. It doesn't travel. It just circles that magnetic field line. And because it's circling that magnetic field line, it creates a vortex of energy, a spiral of energy, right? This is mimicked in all fluid dynamics. All fluid dynamics, this is how it works. This is why aerodynamics works for electricity, water, air, all of that, right? You go from high potential, low potential, all of those things is the same way. All those things move the same exact way. Now, what happens in the womb, right? What happens in the womb, right? Well, when one sperm gets into the egg and fertilizes the egg, yep, there's a moment when the light is released, the divine spark, yep. But what about the other sperms that's around there that didn't get into the egg? Well, guess what? When that light is released, they do like a little dance around the egg. They literally float or circumambulate around the egg. Like when you see the Muslims going around the Kaaba. So that motif is a natural motif. That's a natural motif of the interplay between male and female, electricity and magnetism. And that is what creates life. That's literally the thing that creates life. So if you don't know what the what word it symbolizes, it won't make sense. But the moment that you realize it means life. But not only does it mean life, but its shape depicts life at both levels. Energy, which is the source of matter, creation, right? Electrons interacting with magnetism, right? The source of creation. But then male and female reproducing life. Both depicted here. So when you look at all of the pictures and the glyphs, you go, oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's wild, right? So we take that a step further, right? We take that a step further and we go into the Bible, right? And we do the opposite of what the Hebrew Israelite brothers do. They came up with, your Hawashai. We're not going to do what they did. So when you go into the Bible, check this out. If you only read the Bible in English, right, certain anomalies you'll miss. Now, I'm not saying that I'm reading the Bible in Hebrew, but I'm reading books, studies, excerpts, little parts and pieces, right? And so you will notice two things. In the Bible, you cannot make this up. In the Bible, God refers to himself in the first person. Now, in English, you're not going to see this. In English, you're not going to see this. But in the Hebrew, you will see this. God refers to himself with two names. God refers to himself in the Bible with two names. These are the two first-person words that God uses throughout the Bible for I. I is in the first person. Like I'm like, yo, I'm about to do this. Or I feel like I gotta wrap this live up because Aubrey and Kylie is supposed to be singing Christmas songs in school today. So I gotta go see them sing some Christmas songs. So I, first person I. Listen, this is the point where you're supposed to go hit the Cash App and go order some books and go, oh yeah, let me make sure I sign up today. Oh, sidebar. I'm about to drop 2 little tiny exclusives for Patreon today, right? They're not like well, I'm gonna just put them up on the Patreon. You'll see them. For the people that's buying the books, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, this is good. I could use this. This is useful, right? But if you're not, then it'll serve you no purpose. That's why it doesn't even make sense for me to put them on YouTube. But there's definitely 2 nice, beautiful things for you to add to what you got going on, right? But look, now check this out. When you say to yourself, but wait a minute, Hebrew didn't have no vowels. Okay, let me put that back. See this? See this word? Hey, listen, they're going to be debunking the hell out of this video right now. Pun intended. They're going to debunk the hell out of this video. Listen. You see this? If you take out the vowels, there's that. Now, the other word is this. Which is super crazy. And these words are interchangeable for first person. Right? These are interchangeable for first person, but this is super problematic. Not for me. But people that know, they're like, wait a minute. Are you talking about the Papyrus of Annie? Are you talking about the Papyrus of Annie? No, I'm talking about the Papyrus of Bible. I'm talking about the Bible. This is what I'm talking about, the Bible. I'm not talking about, let me show you. I know they'd be like, EnQi, you just be making up stuff. See, now y'all just saw some of them making up stuff people. They over there remixing. Oh yeah, the Mountain Dew. So let me show you now. Let's go on ahead. You know how we got to do. We got to go on ahead and pull it up. Let's go ahead and type in. I'm going to type in EnQi in the Bible. Look at this. Now, look at this. This is very simple. I didn't type in nothing crazy. Hold on. You see what that search bar say? Let me make it big for you. I just typed in exactly what I wrote on the board for you. EnQi in the Bible. And what pops up right here? There are two ways to say I in Hebrew, the archaic form, EnQi, and the more common form, Annie. When God introduces himself in the first of the 10 commandments, he chooses to use the form of EnQi. The first word of the 10 commandments is this. I know. It's too much. It's too much. I know. Let me just show you again so you take it off me. I'm not saying this. I'm showing you somebody else said this. Look. This is the Hadar Institute. This is the Hadar Institute right here. You see this? This is a Jewish Hebrew organization, not a Hebrew Israelite. This is a Jewish Bible organization here. This is what they're saying. Okay, that's not what I'm saying, right? Look at this. This ain't this. See, this is just. I'm just showing you. Look, this. I see. I'm not making this stuff up. You see. I'm not making it up. See, this is not Yahushai. This is not made up. This is actually in the Bible. This is not Yahushai. This is actually in the Bible. You see what I'm saying? So, I don't know why they get mad with me and then later they be trying to steal the drip. Right? So, this is why, hold on, once again, right? This is why, once again, let's see, Mountain Dew. Oh, there we go. This is why, once again, there's a book for that. You see, there's a book for that. Yeah, there's a book for that. That's all. There's a book for that. There's a book for that. See, I didn't make that up. I'm showing you all the different places, and you now see when you come over here, it'd be like the Mandela effect is happening. You start looking around, you don't even know what's happening. They got to look down at the ground. They can't even look directly at me. They got to look down like this. They didn't spend all this time telling you I'm making up stuff. I don't know what I'm talking about. They got to look down like this as they grab it and then try to put it onto their page. Oh, so what happened is, so this is the mountain. And when you take with the mountain, you're going to say Jew. And then, you know, because I'm going to teach you my trick to remember it. It's called Mountain Dew, like the soda. Because what happens is the light be so bright. You got to ask yourself, how is it that this is all over the place? This is in all kind of internet places, different books everywhere. How come these people that's supposed to be the master, they didn't dedicate all this time? How come it's the guy with the gold teeth that got to come bring you this information? So is these guys fake studying, or are they doing more work trying to block you from getting information than anything else? You see how this, now you see my opinion all this time? Where I'm saying we could have been working together and we could have been helping people. Understand where I'm coming from. We could have been working together and helping people, but people don't want to work with me because I'm going to start healing people. I'm going to show people how to change their life in real time. Yeah, that's what's in these books. Women that couldn't have babies, boop, get rid of those fibroids. Now they got babies. Families is being created. People was told they had X amount of months to live. You know, ooh, oh. Yeah. We're not going to be divided. We're going to come together. Because see, that's what I see. That's what I see when I see these things like this, right? So when the 10 Commandments starts off with this, interchangeable with this, and we all know that the Papyrus of Annie, for the people that don't know, the Papyrus of Annie is the most popular version of the Book of the Dead, or the Coming Forth by Day. The Papyrus of Annie, we all know, was around way before Ptolemies came into, you know, Kemet and created Egypt and Israel. Like we know that hands down. So the fact that this how God refers to himself? What? What? God refers to himself like this? Now you got to go, wait a minute, though. Hold up, Ink. Hold up, though, Ink. Hold up, though, Ink, because wait a minute, Inky, didn't you just said, didn't you say, hold up, Ink, didn't you say that God is what? See, this is us. This is our thing. God is waves. God is waves of potential. Right? We're just going to do EM for short and mechanical. Right? God is waves of potential. God is light, electromagnetic waves, and God is also the word, the sound. And the word was God because the word was with God and the God was the word. Yeah. Mechanical waves, electromagnetic waves. So from the beginning, religion has taught you that you need to do what? Observe the law. Why? Because when you observe, you collapse waves of potential into your reality. Yeah. It's all right. I know. It's Mandela effect happening. Like, wait a minute. EnQi, I cannot believe you're saying this. Notice the people be like, yo, it's not that I can't believe it's being said. It's just I can't believe you saying it. Woo! But that's what the top of the video is about. When your light is that bright, they're gonna have to follow. Think about what you see in the summertime. Listen, in the summertime, you see the bugs, they fly right into the light and the light kills them. Zzz, they get zapped by the light. Zzz. They know they're going to get zapped, but they have no choice. They're going right into the light. This is how this world works. God is light. God is music. People will have no choice but to get in line. Right? We got the books. So can't nobody come behind and say they came up with this. This is ours. We came up with this. I just showed you. It's 1,000 places that shows you that the Ankh is in the Bible. I didn't come up with that. I didn't write the Bible. But this is ours. This, God is electromagnetic waves and mechanical waves. This is ours. This is our thing here. Can't nobody steal this. They're going to get caught just like with their hand in the cookie jar with Mountain Dew. Oh, Mountain Dew. Oh, yeah. So I'm going to show you how to remember. No, you're not. Stop that. This is how we hate on our own kind. Right? Because we get proud to say, oh, yeah, look, this man who works at the Smithsonian, look at this European guy who works at the Smithsonian. I'm going to reference his work and blah, 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 blah. Now, the guy that looked like me, that come from where I come from, oh, I'm going to steal his. And I'm going to step on his shoulders to get ahead. And if people try to look over there, I'm going to say, oh, don't look over there. He's making up stuff. That ain't real. Meanwhile, I'm going to be teaching his stuff. Yeah. So this is where things get crazy. Because these are there. Right? And somebody could weaponize this. They could weaponize this and go, oh, yeah, well, you know, I told you. Kemet rules over those Bible folks. But that's not what we do here. What I am teaching is that there is no Egyptian folks or Israel folks. That's made up. It's only one group of people. Right here, it's identifying to you in a way that can't be it cannot be unbroken ever. When they say that there's a book of law that got lost or broken, and they say, oh, well, there's a book. They didn't write the Septuagint from scratch. They got that from another book. When they tell you they didn't write the Septuagint from scratch, because the Septuagint is Greek. When you get them to admit that the first Bible is in Greek, that's a problem for some folks. They say, oh, no. The Septuagint, they came with that. There was another book before that. And so what happened was that book is no traces of it. It's no traces of it, but we know it existed because they had the information from somewhere to make this book. So I'm like, wait a minute. I think there is a trace of it. I think there is a trace of it. I think it was called the Papyrus of Annie. Yeah. And I think y'all made a little typo. I think y'all made a typo in this book because maybe y'all thought y'all was erasing this part here, but just you left it in. You kind of left this in there. So, yep, this is right in there. So now you know that the Hebrew language comes from the Medu Neter, but then you know when God is referring to himself, he uses these two terms. What are we going to do? Right? So now we know God up here, and then we know what? What else we know? if y'all get in the books, we know about this, right? See, like, EnQi, you're supposed to make videos every day. No, I'm not. Y'all are supposed to realize when you start seeing goofballs like Billy Carson getting busted, when I'm not live, you're supposed to be reading the books. That's when you're supposed to be reading the books, teaching your people, not looking for another channel to watch. You're supposed to be getting the books so that when we're not doing the video, you got the books, studying. So then when we come back, we get charged up again. Boop, get the books, we studying, blah, 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 blah. Now we building. See, if we just having these conversations when I go live, we're not really building. They can't, though. See, that's the thing. They can't get the information off your DNA. You know how the only way they can get the information off your DNA is when we live it out. So that's how you get this long-standing, highly successful experiment called social media. They're just recording all of our behavior. That's how they get the information from your DNA. The information from your DNA is locked away. This is why, look, I'll show you something else. This is why we have this. Here, let me show you. I'll show you. This is also in the books. Let me show you. Let me show you something else. Boop. Boop. See, but they knew this back then already. So they was already hip. This was the whole purpose of this. Look, this. Let me show you the spiel. Bang. You see, they already was hip back then. That's why I'm saying the moment we think they didn't have advanced science, we slipping. Right? You see that? You see that? That's why I'm saying you got to get the books. Because ain't nobody else is giving you this like this. See? They already knew that. So the Shin, right? Which later on, when Napoleon and the other cannibals, you know, the cannibal crew come in. You got to keep remembering, these are the people that ate your ancestors. If you say that the ancient Egypt or Kemet was your ancestors, remember that the Arabs and the Europeans ate them. Literally. Finger licking good. They ate them, right? So when they came in, the soldiers, right, with Napoleon and them, they came in, and when they saw these joints, right, because you got them of all sizes, right? They got to be big enough to make the name. They got to be big enough so that the name of whoever fits inside of it, right? That's how they got the different sizes, right? But they came up with the name cartouche, right? The cartouche. That's not Kemetic or what. That's cartouche is French. Cartouche is not a real thing. That's French. So the soldiers saw their gun and they said, "Oh, this reminds us of the gun. Woo woo, the clip, how we reload the gun. Yeah, it's called the cartouche. That's the gun. That's the ammunition cartridge or whatever. They named it after that. They didn't understand what they was looking at. Just like most people don't understand what they're looking at. Because when I tell people that this is inside your DNA, they like, oh, that's EnQi, making up some science again. Meanwhile, while they saying I'm making this stuff up, they on their pages pretending to be me. While they saying I'm making it up, they on their page pretending to be me. Yeah. So this right here, I realized was this. I realized it was this. I said, oh, this is amazing. This is amazing. Because immediately the story clicked for me. Right? The story clicked for me in a way that it's not going to click for somebody who's studying archaeology or somebody that studies languages, because you can't get this from studying language or archaeology. You have to study biology, biochemistry, right? So when they say there's a hidden one, right, or Atum Ray, and he creates 4 sets of twins, and that 4 sets of twins controls life, gives birth to life. That's a motif that's repeated. The same way I showed you, this is a motif that's repeated. Electric fields and magnetic fields interact a certain way. That motif is repeated between a man and a woman. The 1 and the 8 is a motif that's repeated. Where at? Inside your DNA. You have an H1 histone, and that H1 histone creates 4 sets of twins. 4 sets of twin histones. So you have 9 histones, just like an Enid or the Ogdode. The Ogdode is 8 gods created by a hidden one. The Enid is 9 gods. So you have the 8 and the 1 motif regardless. And that's literally what is controlling your DNA. Right? That's what's in control of your DNA. See? Here they go right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. You got 4 sets of twins and a hidden one. And this is what wraps up your DNA. So this is how your DNA looks 99% of the time. Your DNA only unwinds when it's time for transcription or translation, right? When it's time to make proteins. Otherwise, it looks like this. So this is where your name will live on forever, right? Just like what they said right here. Yeah. Yeah. But this is what I'm saying. This is why I got books. This is why I have books. You gotta get the books. That right there, what I just showed you with the histones and the shin, that's me, 1,000%, 100%. So when somebody else starts teaching that, that's Dr. EnQi. I took the arrows in the back for that. When I say that the aorta is the wa scepter, that's me. I took the arrows in the back for that. Now this, I showed you this online. I showed you this online. That just come from study. Looking in places that people not looking in. Reading books that people not really, it's outside of their purview, right? Because people stick into their lane. Well, all of you have been miseducated because you have been led to believe that the Kemetic lane or studying Kemet is about studying archaeology. That's a lie. Archaeology is for Egyptologists. Kemetic people didn't study archaeology. Let me say that again. Kemetic people did not study archaeology because they was the Kemetic people. The Kemetic people did not study archaeology because they was the Kemetic people. Archaeology is something that modern people invented to study the Kemetic people. The Kemetic people wasn't digging up Kemetic people. The Kemetic people spoke their language every day. They didn't have to have secret organizations to study the language. It was their language. It's like us talking English. Yeah. What was the Kemetic people doing? The Kemetic people were studying science and biochemistry, what I do. So I speak the actual language of the Kemetic people, which is science. The thing that they was interested in studying, life. How life is created, that's what I study. That's what I teach. That's what we learn over here. So make sure y'all hit the Cash App. Make sure y'all go get the books and stop messing around with these people, man. Let's make sure that we're getting busy with the get busy out here, man. We got to stop playing around.